Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am Lady Nika, and with a new video, child. We're gonna be discussing some true crime stories that was sent to me via my true crime email account that you guys have been supporting very heavily. And I want to say thank you before we get into the stories. And also remind others that if there is something that is going on in the world outside your window, and you would like to have your story be featured on one of my True Crimes from the Den episodes, then you can send me the link to the story at the email listed on the screen. Send me the t1@gmail.com. If you do not have the exact link to the story, if you can give me in when you send the email, just give me a little idea of what this is all about and where I need to start researching to find that story, it would be appreciated. And thank you to everybody who has been sending me stories. I am working them one by one. Okay. So without any further ado, we're gonna go ahead on and start talking about our first case. And per the title of Stepmom on Fire. What am I talking about? Well, imagine being physically attacked to the point where your teeth are knocked out only to be set on fire and have to jump from a second story window of your home. Can you imagine that? Well, that was an Ohio woman experience recently. On the screen here is Robbie Devon Robinson Jr., and he was arrested by the Fairfield Township Police in connection with the horrific act and by the released body cam footage revealed moments after the attack, okay? And I will show that to you momentarily. Miss Brenda Scott, who was dating Robbie Devon Robinson's father, can be heard grasping for air in the footage that I'm going to show you, as she tells police she couldn't breathe and that her teeth were knocked out. Well, a short time later, Robbie Devon Robinson Jr. comes approaching police, appearing to not know what was going on and being shocked, right? I don't know what happened, Robinson is heard saying in the video. It just went off. Well, what just went off, Mr. Robinson? Brenda Scott is the victim who jumped from a second floor of their home and was severely burned. A neighbor now a neighbor saw her and called 911, and 2 minutes later they were on the scene. It's still unclear what led to the dramatic escape, but she named Robinson Jr. and he was taken into custody and bond set at $200,000. He still claims not to know what happened to his stepmom. He faces charges of first degree aggravated arson and second degree felony assault and was due in court on May the 17th. I will come back and do an update once I find out exactly what happened in that court date, but I do believe it was just his preliminary hearing where the charges were read out and he was able to plead, but I'll check into it further. Brenda Scott, however, was airlifted to UC Medical Center in critical condition and underwent surgery. Robinson Jr. remains behind bars at the Butler County Jail. Now, under the Fair Use Act, I'm going to show you guys a news report of this incident that happened. We will be um, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, while allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, and scholarship. Also, research. Okay, fair use is permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Okay, so let me cue up the video so that you guys can get an idea of what exactly happened, and then I'll come back with the rest of my commentary.
New video released today shows the aftermath of a man setting his father's girlfriend on fire. It shows the moments Robbie Robinson Jr. is taken into custody, and you may be surprised to hear what he had to say to officers. Here's Luke Jones with more on that part of the story.
Kyle, it was shocking to all of us. A woman on on fire, leaping from a window 3 floors high. And based on what the suspect was saying, you'd think it was a shock for him as well. But police say that couldn't be further from the truth.
In the back!
A Fairfield Township police officer racing to the back of this home on Arroyo Ridge Court, where he finds a woman down on the ground with severe burns covering half her body. They've redacted this portion of the video to respect her privacy.
I gotta breathe. Okay. My inhaler's in the house. I can't breathe. They knock my teeth out.
A short time later, you see the man accused of beating her and setting her on fire. Her boyfriend's son, 23-year-old Robbie Robinson Jr., walks toward the officer, seemingly clueless as to how the woman he calls his stepmother ended up on fire.
I don't know what happened. It just went off, bro. I try to stop. So I find out what's going on.
Sorry. What happened?
But police say he knew exactly what happened because they say he did it.
Water with gasoline, he threw it on her.
That's Dennis Williams on the phone with 911 dispatchers after his dogs alerted him to the commotion in the yard that backs up to his. He runs outside to find the victim, pleading for help after leaping from this window 3 floors up.
Because she told me she jumped out of the window. So I immediately looked up, and that's when I saw smoke coming out of the window.
But Robinson appears shocked to hear she made it out.
Is there anybody else in the house? Who?
My stepmother.
Your stepmother jumped out the back.
Oh, she did?
He's handcuffed and later booked into jail on charges of aggravated arson and felonious assault. And tonight, Robinson's being held at the Butler County Jail on a $200,000 bond. The victim, meanwhile, remains in the hospital. Kyle?
All right, Luke Jones leading us off tonight. Luke, thank you so much. Police haven't released any kind of motive.
What I feel about that is, what in the world was going on there? I do not understand what made this man decide that he was going to set his stepmother on fire. It appears, I don't want to put anything on him, but either he was having some type of psychotic episode or else he's playing a very good role. It's unfounded to me. Like, what was going on inside that house that made you snap in the head and set this lady on fire? That's the world that we live in today. So you have to be very, very careful in your dealings with people because you just never know where they are. I will hope that Miss Scott does recover. Burns ain't nothing to play with. I don't know how severe her burns were, but for her to be airlifted to another hospital in critical condition and having to undergo surgery tells me that it was pretty bad off for her. Now, what was his motive? Why did he do this? Was he on something? Does he have a history of mental issues? What was it that set this man into a spiral to where he would commit such a horrific crime against someone who he calls stepmother? I guess we will find out in the months and weeks to follow what's going on with her. I will do a check back on these stories to see what's going on, especially if they are new stories and yet developing stories. Okay. So our prayers are with Miss Scott as she recovers, and hopefully that Mr. Robinson Jr. he's prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Because that don't make sense to me. I'm confused as to why it happened. It's just weird to me. I've given the scenarios that could possibly be, but I don't know. One never knows what is going on inside someone's head the moments leading up to them doing something so horrific. So in our next story, this story is a bit old, but still it's an important story, and we want to keep her memory alive, okay, through this story. Even though the man who did this crime has been sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison, I still want to tell Latrice Morris Dorsey's story. So let's get into it. Father's Day of 2017, as she was readying herself to go to her sister's house for the holiday, as her 4-year-old daughter Jada watched get dressed, and her 14-year-old son, Justin, was just in another room waiting. Gunshots rang out into this Detroit woman's home. Justin ran to his mom's room to find her laying on the floor, breathing her last breath. Justin held his mom in his arms until she died. Neighbors that heard the gunshot ran inside the home to help Latrice, but they were too late. When Megan Morris, who is Latrice's sister, asked Jada what happened that day, she said, "He killed my mom." Justin said that he saw someone running from the home, taking off in a dark colored vehicle. Latrice was a physical therapist who had recently moved to her home on the west side of Detroit after ending a relationship with her ex-boyfriend, Earl Maxwell. Here on the screen is a picture of Mr. Earl Maxwell. Earl Maxwell, however, was not taking the breakup well, and according to close sources, he was not prepared for Latrice to move on without him. Earl Maxwell did eventually turn himself in after being named a person of interest and was arrested and charged with first-degree unaliving and felony firearm violations. Now, what stands out for me other than the unaliving is the fact that it was done in the presence of Latrice's children within earshot of her other child. These images will burn in their minds forever, and a piece of innocence was lost on that day for both of those kids. During Maxwell's trial, he stated that he accidentally shot Latrice. Now, my question to you all is, how do you accidentally shoot someone 10 times? Because that's what he did. Now, Latrice's estranged husband, Paul Dorsey, said he received disturbing calls from Earl where he said what he was intending to do to Latrice. He was going to attack her. Paul Dorsey said Earl called him at least 20 times because Latrice had cut her phone off and Paul was the only one he could reach. Earl told Paul, when I see your wife, I will unalive her, and he reiterated that on several calls he made to Paul Dorsey's phone. Paul told Latrice about the threats. Just 2 weeks later, Earl lived up to his promises. So in June of 2018, Maxwell was sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison after pleading guilty of murder. Now, I had a clip, but I'm not going to play that clip. I'm just going to weigh in my thoughts and opinions. My thought in this situation is such a beautiful woman with so much life left in her was taken away by this maniac. I don't know what led up to their breakup. I have read articles where they suggested that this man was physically abusive to Latrice. I don't know that to be a fact. However, I am so happy that he will never be able to do this to another family. He will never be able to harm another woman because he will spend out the remainder of his days inside of a maximum security prison. And that is exactly where he needs to be. I am so hurt that her children had to witness something like that. When I said that innocence was lost on that day, those kids will never forget the moment this man took their mother away. One of her child, the boy child, Justin, held his mom in his arms until she ended her time here on earth, till she transitioned. Do you think he will ever be okay? I just pray for the children of Latrice that they can find some form of peace in their life and let this be an example to all women who are currently stuck in a domestic violence situation and you think that just because you walked away and he's making these threats that he's not going to live up to them. Pay attention to the red flags before you find yourself in a similar situation as what Latrice did. I know this woman never thought in a million years that man would take her life, but he did. So if you are in a relationship with somebody and you know that that person is not doing right by you, and this person has some tendencies that, you know, that could be harmful to you and your children, please do something about it. Please get out, because you don't know how far a person will go. Currently, I'm trying to find help is available to you. If you're finding yourself in a domestic situation and you don't know what to do about that situation, help is available to you. And a rolling across the screen will be the number to the domestic violence hotline. Please get out, because the life you save could truly be your own. Help is available to you. It is so many women who lose their lives every year to the domestic violence. And a lot of these women have children. Love don't hurt. It don't hurt like that. And just going back to this story that it's a couple of years old took me back to a dark place that I was in one time. And thank God I had the sense and the wherewithal to get out before my life came to an end. And I couldn't raise my children. So rest in peace to Latrice, and I pray that her children find some peace and comfort in this lifetime. I know that this has had to been the worst thing that could have happened to these kids, and we just never know how a domestic situation will come to an end. Don't ignore the red flags. There's always a warning before destruction. But again, rest in peace to Latrice. I pray for her children that they can live in this world and this not be something that hinders them for the remainder of their life. I hope that they get the counseling or have been getting the counseling that they need to move on from this. They'll never forget it, but each day can get a little better for them to where this is not something that stays in their mind. And I'm really hoping that for her daughter, because I read an article that says this girl still struggles with what happened to her mother. So I'm praying for her. I'm hoping the best for her and her family. And I'm praying that anybody within the sound of my voice, be it recent or in years to come, if you find yourself in a situation, that you act immediately, because the life you save could truly be your own and possibly your kids if you have them. Love don't feel like this. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Throughout the week, I'll be taking care of some of these articles that have been sent to me and uploading videos so you guys can get an idea of what was going on, and, so that you be aware of what's happening in the world outside your window. That story really did touch me deep. I'm not going to lie. That one there was deep, and that's why I wanted to be in the first set of stories that I brought here to you as we start this new segment, True Crimes from the Den. You all have a wonderful remainder to your day. Be safe out here in these streets, and I'll see you soon.